Hey there, so I'm really excited to bring this one to you guys. This is a new beer from Bell's. This is a lighthearted ale. So this is their take on low calorie, low ABV IPA. So this was canned pretty fresh. Let's say about 2 weeks ago. Wow, super fresh. So what is this? This is their take on obviously their famous two-hearted IPA, but this is now with a low ABV and low alcohol. So for sort of relevant context, something like a Bud Light is 4.2% with 100 calories. This is very small, 3.7%, so 0.5 lower and 110 calories. But obviously we're drinking craft beer, a lot more caloric and flavorful than your macro beer. So, and by the way, can we talk about the design? Love it. They're going back to that fish that's on Two Hearted, but then got that like 70s, 80s kind of like vibe. You guys let me know what's called. There's got to be a name for that kind of like color gradient thing. I think they do a great job with the design on this one. It has a really super retro vibe to it. Even with like the gray, I mean, what is that? Like copper kind of can top. Nice color. I like it instead of silver. So beer has a little bit of chill haze to it. Yeah, for sure. It comes in a medium gold color, maybe touching on deep gold. It has a fluffy, tiny bubbled head to it, a little bit of medium to large bubbles going up top. Nice head retention on that one. A little bit of light haze to it. Let's get the aroma on this one. So I'm getting a little bit of floral notes. I'm getting a little expressiveness of like a oily orange. Yeah. I get the grain underneath it too. There's yeah. It's a combination of like orange zest, a little bit of floral potpourri, a light sweetness of sort of like not quite Melba toast, but a toastiness, a little bit of like crackery kind of thing going on. Yeah, a little bit of like light crackery piece of toast. I mean. Yeah, smells quite nice. A little bit of graininess in there. It's got the light malt character, floral, hints of citrus, a little bit perfumey. It smells quite nice, actually. Cheers. Oh, it's not bad. It's crushable, yeah. So, up front, on the website, they call citrus and pine, I assume, maybe they use other hops in here, but I assume it's Centennial based, just like Two Hearted, which is a 100% Centennial based beer. So, I will say, actually, I'm just going through the initial notes that I'm getting. One of the things that got me on the back end is that I actually do a review on it, but the great brewery called Athletic Brewing is doing non-alcoholic beer. And there's a little bit of this waspy kind of like, or sort of like vanishing of beer flavor. And it's got this like hints of like water and malt that sort of lingers on the back end. So sort of like plays like a non-alcoholic beer. Like just like, it just reminds me of that because it's just so light. Right? So, up front, wonderful hop character. It's very traditional in the sense that it's not like, your big New England hazy kind of things. They call pine and citrus. I get this kind of classic kind of just Centennial thing. It's got this kind of like rounded, grapefruity, light piney thing, a little bit of like, trees and forest dancing around there. It's not punchy citrus. It's just like a little bit of orange peel, a little bit of the rind in there, and then that foresty green kind of thing. Just like, think of Sierra Nevada, think of like, again, Bell's and like breweries like that. That's just like, the classic kind of like Cascade Centennial sea hop character. Then there's a little bit of malt in there. It's got a light kind of like bready toasty thing, which is actually quite nice, along with a little bit of grain on the back end. So it's got a little bit substantial, kind of like, maybe your whole wheat toast kind of thing, and a little bit of graininess, so like a graininess, and then almost like your 10 grain kind of bread. So a little bit of hardiness, which is quite nice. So you get the hops, you get a little bit of chew of the malt, something to hold up the beer, and then it washes away quite nicely. For a tiny beer like this, is barely any bitterness. It's got like a medium minus to light bitterness. And I was just saying, it has this watery texture to it. It doesn't have that kind of like sweetness to it, because obviously, this is such a tiny beer. I mean, this is like basically half the ABV of an IPA. It's like even smaller than Session IPA. It's smaller than Bud Light. Like it's like, this is a really small beer. Like this is smaller than even a lot of your Berliners and Goses out there. This is probably one of the smallest commercial beers I've reviewed on this channel. Tiny beer. I mean, we're almost at the point with this beer that you can almost like drink it and not worry about. Like you probably have, I think mathematically, you probably have one of these per hour, and you probably sit like pretty and like not even feel it. Tiny beer, but honestly, I think it has great flavor. You know, this to me almost rocks in between. It is low calorie, so it's 110 calories. It is low ABV, so people that like low ABV, but almost plays in the realm of people that are looking for non-alcoholic, in the sense that it's so low alcohol, it's so low calorie, which is like, you know, plays like a good way in both worlds. And if you still want some flavor impact, you're certainly getting it. Yeah. Great hop flavor, great malt character. Again, this is not gonna like knock your socks off. This is something where you have it and you're like, you know, very watery, not very punchy on the hop character. At least I like there's a little bit of malt on there, but it's like very unimpressive beer. But then you find out, oh, wow, this is 3.7%. Very impressive. So as for rating, it's all right. It's good. B-ish. Let's go with the 80. 86, Bell's Lighthearted Ale. I'm not quite sure what the use of this would be, because like if you sit with a 6-pack of this, you're just gonna drink through all of it and you're gonna be very disappointed, I think. At least for your IPA drinkers out there. I mean, I'm trying to think of a time and place for this, you know, for people that are looking for low calorie, you know, I don't know if it completely satisfies, you know, what you're looking for in terms of hops and flavor and everything like that. I mean, it is a really, really small beer. I mean, at that point, I'm probably drinking, you know, macro or like, you know, Pilsner or something. And, you know, ideally those are like somewhere in the realm of its ABV, or you can go like Bud Light Seltzer or something like that. For your real, like, you know, hop heads or people that are looking for IPA, you know, this just, I don't think will do the job. The one thing you can do is maybe like curb some of your drinking. So maybe you'll have a double IPA or two and then like return to these, and that'll like, you know, tamper down your, you know, IPA consumption and, you know, consumption of alcohol and calories. So it can do that. And I think that's really the place it's at. I just can't imagine this being like a kind of like, you know, I'm just going to, you know, consistently drink these all the time. But then again, that's sort of my take on beers like All Day IPA, and people love All Day IPA. And you know, honestly, if you don't have to compete with All Day IPA, I might should pick this one. Maybe. Hey, there you go. I'm sort of explaining my drinking where, you know, I think of IPA and, you know, lower calorie stuff. But if you're an all-day IPA, session IPA kind of guy or gal, definitely enjoy this. This is absolutely fantastic. I think it really does have a nice kind of like, what's most important here is that there's that zing of hop character that you're looking for, that malt structure that holds up the beer, that this beer doesn't get too watery, and I think it completes that job, and I think it's a well-constructed beer. Until next time, guys, cheers. Let me know what you think. This is Lighthearted from Bell's. Until next time, enjoy. Later.